Digivation Network.
Hello and welcome to the program Digivation Network. Here we x-ray issues and development in business, innovation and ICT. Again, you're warmly welcome. I am Bayero Agabi. Don't forget you can also be part of the show by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network and other social media platforms.
This is Digivation Network.
This is Digivation Network, Africa's best digital and innovation news platform on television, and I am Bayero Agabi. According to a research by a United Nations Conference on Trades and Development's Business to Consumers Conference Index 2020, Nigeria has dropped to 94 from its previous ranking of 88 in 2019. For details on this and more, please stick around for Adaze Okayene.
The place of e-commerce in the present global competitiveness in world trading cannot be overstated. In developed nations, e-commerce has accelerated industrialization and growth of economies. While developing countries have been racing to catch up, Nigeria has dropped according to the latest ranking from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development's Business to Consumer B2C E-Commerce Index 2020. Out of 152 countries, Nigeria dropped to 94 from its previous ranking of 88 in 2019. Within Africa, Nigeria also dropped to 8th from 3rd position. The news comes as a surprise considering Nigeria has one of the largest internet populations in the world and experienced a vibrant e-commerce upsurge in 2020, particularly during the COVID-19 lockdown. To put this in a clearer perspective, data from Nigeria Bureau of Statistics on GDP showed that the ICT sector of Nigeria's economy grew by 14.7% in the fourth quarter of 2020, making it the fastest growing economy in the country. A gain that was attributed to strategic policy directions, which includes National Digital Economy Policy for Digital Nigeria and Nigeria Broadband Plan, according to the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Pantami. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), Professor Umar Dambatar, also stated on the 7th of November 2020 at the Nigerian Tech Innovation Awards that broadband penetration grew from 6% in 2015 to 45.43% in September 2020, and basic internet subscription grew from 90 million to 143.7 million within the same period, with teledensity also reaching 107.53% at the end of September 2020. Still yet, among the key indices for the ranking of countries in readiness for e-commerce, Nigeria scored lowest on access to the internet. The question then arises, with such a drastic improvement in the tech space of the country, how come there isn't a corresponding progression in the ranking released by UN Conference on Trade and Development's Business to Consumer E-Commerce Index? We tried to make sense of this when we spoke with the outcome president, Ikechukwu Namani.
I'm one of those that don't pay so much attention to inter-country ranking versus what is happening within the country in terms of the year-to-year performance within the country. Is there improvement? The reason for that is anything could happen in any given country. That is a particular moment in time that may appear to either improve or decrease their performance when compared to other countries, but it just turns around by the next quarter. So a typical example, a few months ago, Nigeria was rated as being in recession, and then just last week, new data came out that Nigeria is no longer in recession. Nothing stops Nigeria from being rated as back into recession next year. And if you were to compare that with other countries, then it may not be a fair comparison. The most important thing is to understand year to year, is the country improving in terms of e-commerce transactions, access to internet and all? If the answer is yes, then it's a step in the right direction. If the answer is no, then it means more questions needs to be asked and people need to find out why is the country not improving. Now, how we compare to the other countries and rest of the world is important purely from a metric standpoint, but beyond that, the in-country performance to me has more weight, and that will focus more on that. One simple example, if you look at the COVID pandemic, the US just hit about 500,000. Does it mean that Nigeria, that has less than 100,000 deaths, is better, than the US? The answer may be no. So it all depends on what is happening at any point in time within any country, that's the way I would want to look at it. I know from my observation that because of the impact of COVID, there's been an improvement in the use of e-commerce channels within the country. A lot of people now shop online. When the traditional shopping centers were closed because of COVID restrictions, many people were still able to order their services online, have it delivered, and all that. So from that standpoint, except there's a contrary statistics, I think the country is improving year in, year out. But that, as you rightly noted, may not mean some other countries are not improving at a faster rate, which may give them a better ranking in this particular report.
The president of Nigerian Internet Association and the CEO of Nigerian Internet Exchange Point, Mohammed Rudman, shared some possible rationale behind Nigeria's slip on the ranking.
High likelihood that Nigeria has dropped in ranking from that 92, 86 you said to 92, right?
88 to 94.
80, yes, exactly. Six line drop.
Yes.
From that, yes, correct. And the parameters you mentioned are actually the right parameters, but when it comes to the broadband, I think that's where you asked. Nigeria is constantly increasing in the number of people that are getting online. If you check the NCC website, you will see that as the end of 2020, we have like around, I think, 154 million people that are online. Out of that, 86 million of them are on broadband, which is equivalent to around 45% of Nigerians that are actually on broadband. So there is a significant increase in number of people that are getting online, but in terms of the ranking, yes, I believe it's possible based on the parameters you mentioned.
He also identified key factors to what may appear to be hindrances to a larger e-commerce ecosystem in the country.
But there are other challenges. If I'm to say, part of it is the availability of the network in so many other areas. Still in Nigeria, you have the underserved and even unserved areas. For the areas that are served, the connectivity mostly is not up to 3G, it's mostly 2G. And with that kind of connectivity, you cannot really do much. So even though we have high population of number of people that are on the internet, as I mentioned earlier, only around 50% of the people that are on internet, out of the 154 million, only around 50%, 86 million, that are actually on broadband. And those on broadband are mostly in the cities, the main big cities. So 80% of the commerce, online e-commerce in Nigeria is actually from those major cities. Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, that is the end. The remaining 20% is from all other parts of Nigeria, and all because of the internet access challenge, the infrastructure challenge. If you go to most of these remote locations, the internet connection is very, very terrible. Part of it, is the cost of data. A lot of Nigerians cannot afford it. So possibly why you see the drop in ranking, even though there is COVID-19, is possibly because of affordability. Due to COVID-19, millions of more number of Nigerians are going into the poverty line. They can't afford the data. So regardless of going online to even buy some items, So yes, internet is a major part of it.
On the Index of Secured Internet Service, which Nigeria scored 36, Destiny Amana, the president of Nigeria Internet Group, disagreed with the score, but emphasized on the significance of such rankings on the country's economy.
So, with regard to security when you're using the internet, I'm not sure I agree with the statements by the United Nations, because I don't know what their matrix was, how they measured that. What exactly are they measuring? Are they measuring the security with regard to someone eavesdropping on your phone call or your emails, or is it how secure is it from the government who is listening to you? I'm not sure how to answer that question. That is my statement with regard to that. With regard to actual e-commerce and business, a lot of Nigerian businesses, all they had was a website. They didn't have an e-commerce presence. And even the e-commerce people, the people who were selling online, the infrastructure, the way their businesses were built, there was not enough infrastructure on ground for COVID-related e-commerce, because non-contact required a lot of mobility with regard to logistical delivery of your goods and services, and there were hardly any logistics companies that were operating at the time of COVID. Of course, the case has changed now. There's so many one-man businesses who have gone into logistics. If you owned a motorcycle, you started a logistics company. There are even aggregators being created right now. They are all they do is they don't own a motorcycle themselves. They just partner with all these individual motorcycle owners and get them businesses that will use their services, and then they get a commission for the transaction that's taking.
Considering the fact that these rankings have effects on potential investments into the country, it is imperative that the government give particular attention to the areas of concern as stipulated in the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development's Business to Consumer E-Commerce Index 2020. Thank you for watching the Digivation Network. Please click to subscribe and drop your views in the comments section. Hello, I am Adaze Okeaine, Digivation Radar.
I am Gideon Tobiloba, Sports Tech and the Top 5s.
And I am Princely Momodu for news and views in the entertainment world.
Every week we serve you with news, views and information as they relate to business, technology and innovation.
That's not all. It includes events, trends, reviews, and policy framework to drive the unfolding digital space.
Join us on our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/Digivation Network for all these and much more.
Don't fail to subscribe. There's plenty to win and lots of benefits to derive. www.youtube.com/Digivation Network. Digivation Network, your leading platform for business, technology, and innovation news. Subscribe and join us.
Thanks for being with us on this show, Digivation Network. For details, please join us via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network. As nations aggressively go digital, cybersecurity has also become a major issue of concern to all and businesses alike. This is the reason for this report on cyber war. That story continues next week. Thanks to ABC for that story.
This is Digivation Network.
And now to our top 5, which feature stories that made headlines for the week with Gideon Tobiloba.
Hello everyone, welcome to another interesting segment of the Top 5s. I'm Gideon Tobilaba. So this episode promises to be very exciting and informative as I'll be highlighting the top 5 events that took over year 2020. 2020 was a highly disruptive year that was heavily defined by different unforeseen activities and events which led to global social and economic disruptions. Here is a list of my top 5 events that happened in the year 2020. Starting from number 5. Joe Biden became the president-elect and now the president of the United States. Joe Biden on the 28th of January became the 46th president of the United States after defeating former president Donald Trump in the November 3rd election with a critical assist from his birth state, Pennsylvania, which delivered votes to propel him to victory and end one of the most contentious elections in recent memory. Standing on my number 4 is the sad incident that took the life of our basketball legend, his daughter, and 7 others. Kobe Bryant's death. The legendary Los Angeles Lakers player was killed alongside his daughter, Gianna, and 7 others when their helicopter crashed in Calabasas, Calif on January 26th last year. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Going straight to number 3 is what started in America and penetrated every part of the world, the Black Lives Matter protests. The police-involved killings of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor last year sparked a wave of peaceful and sometimes violent demonstrations and riots across the world to demand an end to police brutality and racial injustice. This has made the Take a Knee gesture more popular all over the world, with footballers taking a knee before a match. Now to number 2. Coming home is the EndSARS protest that shook Nigeria to its foundation. On Thursday, 8 October 2020, nationwide protests on EndSARS started after weeks of outrage and anger with videos and pictures showing police brutality, harassment, and extortion in Nigeria. The protests were led predominantly by young Nigerians in different cities alongside many activists and celebrities. Nigeria Police Force disrupted the protests in some cities, throwing tear gas, using water cannons, and allegedly shooting at unarmed peaceful protesters. And now to the king of the park is the dreaded coronavirus pandemic that successfully changed how we live. The World Health Organization announced January 9, 2020 that a deadly coronavirus had emerged in Wuhan, China. In a matter of months, the virus has spread across the globe to more than 70 million people, resulting in at least 2 million deaths worldwide. One good news making the rounds now is the availability of vaccine that will protect people from contracting the virus. These are my top 5 major events that happened in year 2020, and this is where I pull the curtain on the segment for this week. Join me next week for another interesting segment of the top 5s. I'm Gideon Tobilaba.
That is the show for the week. Until next week, please reach us via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Digivation Network. I am Bayero Agabi. Peace.